Hi! Welcome into the kitchen. I'm so excited to have you. Today we're going to be making my salsaverde. It is such a versatile salsa or chile, whatever you prefer to call it, because you can use it on top of things, you can use it in things. It's just wonderful. I've used it in so many different ways and it always shows through. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you love making it. If you're making it along with me, so excited to show you. Let's get into it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started. The things that you're going to need are going to be tomatillos, jalapeños, serranos, cilantro, onion, garlic, and lemon, or limes, whichever you prefer, whichever you have. I have lemons today, so that's what I'm going to use. Now if you're like, Dreamer, I don't know how to pick the ingredients that I'm going to need for this, don't you worry, I have your back. I have a good friend over, I think she's at the grocery store, who can show you the best way to pick your ingredients. Let me see if she's in. Mia? Hey there. Yeah? Okay, awesome. We'll go straight to you.
Thank you, Dreamer. This is Mia reporting live from the grocery store with Mia's Grocery Tips. I'm going to walk you guys through how to pick the best produce that you can, because the better ingredients, the better your food will turn out. Now, for these little green grads, your tomatillos, these are a little bit harder to pick, kind of, only because they have the skin on the outside. You can see right, there's like a little place where you can peek at, and you can see just a little area, and you can just tell the greenness from it and whatnot. Some of them will have darker spots. You definitely don't want this. So you just want to pick one that's relatively firm and good to go. You just pick however many you need for this recipe. Now, for these dangerous little guys, these are your serranos, the ones that are a little bit longer and definitely thinner. You can tell that this one has a little bit of wrinkles to it. You want one that's also firm, pretty smooth, and mainly green. And that will be the good one for you to take with you home. And now for your jalapeños, again, same thing. You want them green and smooth all the way around. They're going to come in all different shapes and sizes. Don't mind that too much. And if you see just a little bit, here, let me find a good one to show you. If you find a little bit of like this, I guess I'd call it bark on it, perfectly fine. And depending on heat, I always feel like it's a guessing game. And if you wanted to know, the pith on the inside is going to be the hottest spot. So just go with your gut and choose whichever one you feel good. Okay, so right over here, very, very similar. You want it as green as possible. You don't want to see any bruising on it. Bruising will be typically when they're like a little bit brown, but these ones look really good. They're really, really plump, really green, really firm. And we're just gonna grab a whole bunch of these. Over to the onion. We have our onion selection over here. Right here you have your yellow onions, which is typically what I use for most of my recipes. It's just what I usually have on hand. So this is what I'm gonna have you grab for this recipe. Now, to decide on which onion you're gonna get, and to get the best one you can, I'll show you right here. This one is just a little bit bruised. You can tell there's some wetness around like the area that it is bruised, and that's gonna tell you that's not very good to use. Now, you can kind of feel the firmness, and you can see just around here, there's no bruising of any kind, and this is gonna be a really good onion to take home with us, so this is the one we're gonna take. And I'm going to show you guys how to pick out a really good lime for just any occasion, really. I'm going to show you some pretty good examples. We have two limes right here. The ones that have a really rough outer edge, you don't want to get. Its firmness is, that's going to be really hard for you to squeeze. So go ahead and do yourself the favor and get one that is really smooth around the edges, pretty green. You want to see no dark spots, or no, I guess, sunspots, which are going to be your lighter areas. So get one that you can squeeze just a little bit, so you know your strength, but so that you can squeeze it and it'll give you the most amount of juice possible to use. So we're going to have to prep our vegetables. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. Super easy. You're using a knife and a cutting board. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to prep our vegetables that we have all right here, right next to us. Our beautiful vegetables. Now, quick tip, I'm using a plastic cutting board. That's just what I have here. Now, these tend to slide around, but if you take a reusable cloth and you wet it, you set it right under it, good to go. If you don't have a reusable cloth, no worries at all. Just use a paper towel, wet it, and it'll be all the same. No slips and no risk of cutting yourself. So to prep our vegetables, super easy.
For both of our peppers here, we're just gonna go ahead and cut off the ends. And there we go. Same thing over here. I'm just gonna go and cut off the ends. Then we'll just throw those away. For our tomatillos, we do want to go ahead and peel this like outer layer off, completely off. These get quite sticky, so don't like be too concerned if you're like, why is it sticky? And there we go. So now that we have all of our vegetables prepped and ready, we're gonna go ahead and get them into our pan. So what you can do is either a foil lined sheet tray. This just helps with easy cleanup, so that's really nice. Or you can also do a ceramic dish. I'm just doing something like this because it helps catch all of the juices that will release as you're roasting them. And it's just really big, so it's just easy to put everything in one pot. So now we have everything put in here. I went ahead and put the tomatillos at the bottom just because they're gonna release a lot of liquid. So to help everything on the top roast really well, like the jalapenos and serranos, I went ahead and just put that on the top layer. Now there's just one more thing you have to put in this before we can put it in the oven. And that's gonna be oil. It's just gonna help with the roasting of it all. I have vegetable oil and olive. I typically just do olive. When it comes to this, it's just the quickest one I typically have on hand. So just really eyeball it. You just want enough to lightly cover them, not anything crazy. That's about that. If you want a measurement, that was probably about I'd say 2 tablespoons. But just so they glisten just a little bit, we're gonna go ahead and put these in the oven at 425 degrees for I'd say about 20 to 30 minutes, maybe a little longer, maybe a little less. It really just depends on your oven. And we'll be right back when these are done. While our veggies are roasting, we're gonna go ahead and get everything else ready in our blender. That's gonna be our onion, our garlic, and our cilantro. Now washed and dried, super easy. We're gonna use this entire thing for this recipe. Mind you, this recipe is pretty big. I use it for multiple different dishes. So keep that in mind when you are making it. You might wanna cut it in half. But I'm just gonna cut off these very end bits that are a little bit dark, but I wanna try to keep as much of it as possible. Just like that, the entire thing goes into our blender. All right, let's clean this off. So now that that's cleaned off, we're gonna go ahead and take our onion. This recipe calls for half of a large onion. This one, as you can see, I'd probably call this a medium to small onion, so I'm gonna use 75% of it, if not the whole thing. I don't mind onion. I guess it's all to your preference really, but for about this size, I have pretty small hands, but this is about a small to medium, so if it was bigger, I would use half of it. The only thing we need to do for this is cut off one end, spin it to the other side, cut off the other end. Now to make it a little bit easier, just gonna cut it in half, and as you can see, most of our shell is already peeled off for us. Super nice, super lovely. And we're just gonna take off this first layer. It's usually super thin and almost like skin length. That side. Same thing with this one. And just to make it a little bit easier on our blender, I'm just gonna cut this down just a little bit. Into 4s. So flat on its side, down the center, and then turn it. And there we go. I'm going to, that's about 75% of it. I left about half of it out. If I want more, I can always add more. That's one of the most important things, is you can always add something, you can never take it away. So just use what you feel is right, up to your preference and whatnot. And then if you want to add more, go ahead and add more. All right, so now that we have, ooh, I'm getting ahead of myself, limes. Ooh, I'm starting to feel the onion. I thought I was gonna be able to get through this without feeling the onion. Good. I was gonna be tough, but the onion got to me. We're gonna pull through. I'm gonna pull through for you guys, don't you worry. So this recipe calls, let me see, I have my notes over here. I don't have it memorized, so sorry. 1 to 2 limes. Now limes are typically like twice this size. These are so baby, so tiny. So I'm gonna have to use a lot more of these. I'm probably gonna do about 4. I'm gonna start with that. My eyes. Oh, props to anybody who could do this, because I've been doing this for years and I still can't do it. But again, same thing. You can always add, but you can never take away. So there we go. We got our lemons cut. Now we're gonna use all of our strength. Oh, that wasn't that bad. I'm just strong. All right, we're gonna go ahead and juice all of these. If you're using something like this, oh, it did not, okay, there you go. You can go ahead and squeeze it, but sometimes the juice also likes to get caught here on the side. So if you just turn it, sometimes, not all the time, some more juice will come out because it'll get stuck underneath like the rind and everything. Alright, now that we have all of our lemon squeezed, I'm going to go ahead and put this onion to the side for later in case we need it, but I think we should be good. Okay, so now the last fresh thing is going to be our garlic. This is a whole head of garlic. If you just squeeze it, I do this over a trash bag because the little pieces get everywhere. But you're just going to squeeze it really hard, or as hard as you can, and a piece should break off. Now from our whole head of garlic, I went ahead and grabbed 4. Now I say 4 large ones in the recipe because, well, you can't have enough garlic. At least I don't think so. But this is a really big piece of garlic. So something like this is what you want. Just go ahead and adjust accordingly. Now with these, you have an end that's a little bit longer and then an end that has this little brown piece that is like the bottom root. We're gonna cut off this end piece, or both, and it'll also make sure that it's easy to peel. Oh, some garlic's flying. All right. Now you can go ahead and peel them like this after you just cut them. Some are easier than others. Some like to be a little bit of a hassle, just like that one is. If you're not comfortable with this, do whichever way you're comfortable with. But I'm gonna put it on the flattest side that there is. I'm gonna put my knife flat on top of it and take like this part of my hand and literally smack it. Pretty hard, pretty hard. And that'll split the garlic and it'll be super easy for it to peel. Tricks and tips to make your life just a little bit easier while cooking. So now our 4 cloves of garlic are ready to go straight into the blender. We're gonna go ahead and put this away. So now we have everything in here other than our veggies that are roasting. We have our onion, our garlic, our cilantro, and our lime. And now it's time for our seasonings. For all of our spices, I have cayenne, cumin, and paprika. I have chicken bouillon, onion powder, and garlic powder. Here I have salt, pepper, and dried parsley flake. Now that the rest of our veggies are roasted, they're ready to go ahead and go in here and get blended, and we're almost there. But another thing is that a lot of people like to stick these into bags to let them steam so that you could peel off the skin. I don't find that it makes that big of a difference. Now if you want a more smooth consistency, then you can strain it through a fine mesh sieve. Try to say that 5 times fast. And then it'll be really smooth. But I like a little bit of the texture, and then you really get that roasty flavor that we work so hard to get anyways. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to fit as much of this in here as I can right now. I'm gonna go ahead and blend it up, and then we'll be all done. Ready to eat, ready to serve. ready to enjoy. Everyone's blender is different. Mine has automatic settings on it, so on this one I'm gonna change it to spread and let it blend. I might have to go through it a couple of times, just really depends. Each one is different. Now for your blender, I'd probably go on a medium to high speed until you get it to the consistency you like. I typically like mine as smooth as I can get it, so we're gonna get that going. It's time to blend. And there we have it, our green salsa. Now for storing it, I have an airtight container that I typically like to store it in. This one's pretty big because it makes a pretty good amount. It just helps it last a lot longer in the fridge for whenever you need to use it. Now, typically a bowl, foil over it, perfectly fine, or anything, just a lid or any of that extra Tupperware you have laying around. Let's see what it tastes like. I'm a little afraid because this is a little more on the spicy side. Perfect amount of spice. It has so much flavor and so much depth to it. I love it. I love using it for so many different things, and I hope you love it as much as I do. There we have it, our finished product. I hope you love it. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you enjoyed making. If you did, please let me know down in the comments how you feel about it. I think it's perfect for anything, and stay tuned for my next video. You can like, comment, subscribe right down below.